everybody! I'm here today to show you how to self-clean an oven. This will be a simple and straightforward tutorial, so let's get right into the video. As you can see, I have this oven right here, and this oven is equipped with the self-cleaning feature, so I'm going to show you how to use it. Now, first and foremost, before you do this, you want to read over the user manual of your oven, just to be sure of anything that they might want to tell you about with regards to how to use the self-clean feature and any precautions that you should be taking. But I'm going to show you the process for this oven and the things that I do, and they'll most likely be able to be applied to your oven as well. Okay, so let's get right into the video. Now, the oven self-cleans by getting really, really hot, and it basically just crustifies everything inside of it. So that means anything that's fallen that you've been cooking before inside of the oven is going to get really, really hot and will turn to sort of like ashes, basically. Because it gets really hot and it will produce, it'll turn things to ashes, which might produce some steam or smoke. What you want to do is first and foremost, turn on your hood fan. So I went and I turned on the fan on the top over here, just to get any air that escapes from the oven to sort of go up there. Secondly, you want to open any windows that are nearby the oven. So right now there's a window over here to the side in the kitchen, and I just opened up the window, and now all of my neighbors can hear what I'm saying. So we've opened up the window just to sort of, air everything out. Thirdly, what you want to do is any pets that are nearby, you want to get them completely far away from the oven. Any pets, any kids, any adults, any being, basically, you want to get them away from the oven because, like I said, it will be getting really hot. It will be producing some potential smoke and some steam. So you want to make sure that everyone's far away from it, just to make sure nobody, nothing happens, basically, just to be extra safe. So once you set it on self-clean mode, obviously you got to be in the house to monitor the oven, but make sure that you're like in a different room for the most part and you have good ventilation around the oven, okay? Next, what we're going to do is we're going to open up the oven. So here I am on camera. I'm going to flip the screen to make sure that you can see exactly that I can see what you're seeing, okay? Now inside of the oven over here, you have some racks, okay? So we're going to remove these racks. And the reason we remove these racks is because if you leave them in here through the self-cleaning process, the coating on them can sort of be dulled down, which will make them harder to sort of remove and put into the oven, okay? So you want to remove those, and those can be cleaned inside of your bathtub or inside of the kitchen sink. Next up, you want to scrape off anything that's on the bottom of the oven that you can get to. So I'm going to just reach over here. I'm going to get just a simple spatula. You can use anything, really. I just like to use a spatula because it's not going to dull or damage the coating on the oven. So with that spatula, I just like to scrape off any little bits that are just that I can access right there. There's really not that much in this oven, thankfully. We're pretty clean when we cook. But for the most part, just scrape off anything that you can get to. I think that's pretty much it. Once you're done, just get a little cloth and just wipe all the stuff that you scraped off out. Because anything that you leave in there will end up basically turning to ashes and turning to like smoke. So what you want to do is wipe it out, because the more that you can get out now, the better. There's a little piece there. So I'm just going to wipe it all out. I'll show you what I removed in 1 second. Just like that. It doesn't, you want to do as good of a job as possible, but you're not trying to scrub everything because that's what the self-cleaning feature is for, okay? So, as you can see right here, that's pretty much what I got out of there. Not a ton, but there's just a little bit of gunk. I'm going to leave that in the sink over there. I'm going to just dry off my hand. All right, now we're ready to actually self-clean the oven. So make sure, do one last check, make sure that there's nothing in there, okay? Make sure you're good. And that's it, yeah, we're ready to go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the oven door, okay? Now that the oven door is closed, we're ready to actually start the self-cleaning process. Now we've prepared everything. Make sure nothing is on the oven. One last thing, actually. As an added precaution, I like to empty the warming drawer too, because it does get quite warm. This is just something that I like to do, but you can, like I said, so I just emptied out the warming drawer just so it's clear. That drawer down there, I just emptied it out. There's nothing in there. All right, you can remove the warming drawer if you want. I just like to empty it out. Now you're going to look on your control panel, and this is most likely how it's going to work. You're going to look on your control panel for the self-cleaning button, okay? In this case, it's right here, it says self-clean. You're going to potentially press it or hold it down. Now, most likely you're going to have to hold it down. Now, believe it or not, I've never actually self-cleaned this oven. I've used our old oven, I've self self-cleaned it, but this is a new house that we moved into recently and we haven't self-cleaned it yet. So I'm sort of learning this as I'm teaching you, but I've done it many times with other old ovens. So there's a self-clean button here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try holding it down, okay? And as you can see right there, it looks like it's activated. I think I'm gonna have to push start. There we go. So now I activate it and then I push start to start the self-cleaning process. Now it says self-clean and it shows 3 hours, and that's because that's how long it's going to take for this oven. And it shows where it's sort of deriving the heat from, and that it's self-cleaning. Now it also shows a locking symbol because in most cases the oven door will be locked. I can't say this with every oven, but as an added safety precaution, because it gets so warm, most ovens will lock the oven door, okay? So if you notice that your oven door is locked shut, that's an added safety precaution. Now, you're gonna let it self-clean for however long it takes. In this case, it says it's gonna take 3 hours, no problem. And once it's done, okay, once the self-cleaning's done, you're gonna let it completely cool down. So leave it for as long as it takes to cool down. Don't touch the oven when it's self-cleaning because it's gonna get really warm. But you know, let it cool down completely. Once the oven is completely cool, I'm gonna leave it for like another couple of hours once it's done, just to be safe. Once the oven is completely cooled down, what I like to do is I like to just get a wet rag or a wet cloth, and I like to just wipe the inside once it's completely cooled down. I just wipe around the interior of the oven, and that's it, you're good to go. It saves you a lot of time, it saves you a lot of effort because the oven essentially does the work for you for cleaning it. Now you can clean your oven in between self-cleaning, like meaning, you know, let's say I self-clean it today, and then I'm gonna self-clean it again in a month from now. I can just wipe it down in a couple of weeks in between those cleaning sessions, just because there's no harm in it, but really it all depends on how dirty you are when you cook. If you're cooking lots of stuff that's overflowing, you're gonna have to clean it more often than I do. In my case, my wife and I self-clean the oven probably about once every 3 months, and there's just a little bit of gunk built up because that's just the way that it is. That's it. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below as a comment. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more great videos like this one. And just to be sure, I want to say this once again, make sure you read over the owner's manual, okay, to make sure you know what you're doing with your specific oven, and make sure you're following all of the proper safety precautions. The oven will get hot, the oven will produce steam, the oven might produce smoke depending on how much is in there. So work in a well-ventilated area and stay away from it. And that's it. Like I said before, give the video a like, give it a thumbs up, be sure to subscribe, and that's basically it. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.